I come to you in peace. Guys, this this freaking market, are you kidding me? Man, she's got some teeth, huh? Really, the volatility is absurd right now. Like, I know all last year us traders were like, give me some more. I want some. We were just bitching all year about volatility. Give me some more. I was looking for like a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of volatility. I got like a bulldozer scoop, like a D9 dozer scoop of volatility just plowed right into my face. I mean, this is freaking off the charts. Now, one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is, let me back up. Let me give you the official welcome to Stock Market Mutterings daily review and recap for the 26th. Now, every day for us was green, but I don't think there was one easy trade. I think I was red on every single trade I took the moment I took it. I think I had to add to everything at least one time. I mean, I was literally pulling teeth like I was wrestling bears all week. I was wrestling bears all week. Just insanity. Now, I'm saying this to you guys for a particular reason, because these mofo fools out there on social media are continuing to act like they've got this shit figured out. Like, this is real. Look, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I have a formula and a system, and I've seen a lot of markets. I've seen this type of market before. You know what? I can't tell you what the next move is going to be. We might go up 500 points. We might go down 1,000. We might go up 500 and 1,000 within the same 20-minute period. I have absolutely no freaking idea. I mean, just look at this Netflix chart that I have up on the screen, and you tell me if you would think it would pull the stunt that it did. I mean, look at this absurd range. Spikes in the morning, just sells off here, what, $12, and then rallies 20. I mean, this thing is nuts. Now, one of the things that has been somewhat of a consistent, which I talked about in the last couple mutterings, is like, this thing is trendy. When it gets going in one direction, it just plows that way. Like, it just takes off, and it's either bullish or it's bearish. I mean, overall, the theme is definitely bearish, but you cannot underestimate or ignore the snapback intraday rallies that this market. I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, seriously. Now, I tell you again, that's why I say it, because I think most of you are smart enough to realize that. And it's like, us pro traders, like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years. We don't know what's going to happen from the next minute either. And I know honesty isn't always the best selling policy. This doesn't always do the best, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you that. I mean, if you're new in this trading business right now, you are getting the best education right now in this type of a market, because this happens. The market last year, that linear, peaceful, docile market, I mean, that is once in a decade you're going to see a type of market like that. I mean, it's a rare occurrence, and I know some of you started out that way and you expect that it's always going to be like that, and it's not. And this is why we've always said, you can go back to last year on some of the stuff. When you're talking about trying to survive for the long term, you mess up in a market like this, or you get on the wrong side, you're going to blow up. I mean, everything's trading like a low float penny stock. It's just nuts. And like I said before, you have a couple of options. You either have to sit out, and pick and choose your spots carefully until things settle down, which they will at some point, or you have to back down that size. You got to trade less, and you definitely have to back down the size one way or the other. Now, let's talk about these trades. Like I said, there were no freebies, and I have to admit, I'm not going to sit here and act like, hey, look, I'm cool Mo D every minute of the day, and I get confused too. I'm a human being. The market starts, it gaps down, and I was thinking, you know what, we got to worry about this. We talked yesterday, we got to worry about this Amazon stuff. It might just kill tech and kill this rally, and this stuff gap down. So it was like, maybe if we panic flush out in the morning, I'd be a buyer. Well, we're not really getting that. It's like the market's sort of haggling around before it shows its hand. So you go to this Netflix, you'll see that was the first trade that I had today. By no means am I buying any green bars in the morning. Forget that. A couple of months ago, yeah, I would do that. Now, no. Again, I said that before too, you guys, when you have your strategy doesn't change, just the approach to it. So before, the market was low in volatility, I would buy that because, you know, you were confident that you'd be able to catch, you know, stop out or stuff like that. These bars move around the first 5-10 minutes so bad that if you entered the order, by the time you typed in your stop, the market might have moved against you already and it'd be under that. I mean, it's that bizarre. So I have to wait for 5-10 minutes or something, either get a superior setup or for things just to kind of settle in. So this Netflix starts perking here, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a shot at longing this. The chart looks pretty good. I've got a nice reference point for a stop. I'll give it a go. Now, I wasn't really comfortable with, I wasn't feeling like confident, like, you know, but I normally don't feel confident. I've been doing that for years as well. I don't feel confident about every trade I enter. I always go into every trade thinking I'm going to lose. You know, it's better that way. Makes you feel better because you're always pleasantly surprised when you win. You're like, oh, look, it's great. But that's just the way I look at it. Now, the reason I did is because the other day the market surprised me by rallying so much. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it does go to 320. Hell, what do I know? But we have a nice risk to reward. I'll give it a shot. Pull down my position size. It actually turned out pretty good. But I got to say, I was fixated on it, which I'm normally not with any trade. I'm just like, got my finger on the button. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to, yep. I mean, like the whole time I was like, I'm selling. No, I'm going to sell. And it popped. And I'm like, I want to take the gain. No, hold on. Okay, I want to take the gain. No, hold on. Finally, I take it. Just about at the right time. It went a little bit higher. And then it rolled over. So it actually was a pretty good trade. It was like $1.60 or 70 gainer right out of the gate. But it was like the hardest $1.60 per share I've ever made. I mean, it was weird. And then everything just collapses. And by the time I got out of this thing and it rolls over, I'm like, oh, it's already down there low. I see things across the board. The Qs are now pulling back their open gap. Let me try to find something to short. Where would I go? Where would I go? That's right. King Baba. I just went right over to Baba. You still had some greens, and I just piled right into it. Now, because Baba has lower volatility, I went like, you know, I went Vente Grande size on it. I'm like, look, I was pretty confident with this one. So I had some size there. Now it rolls over and it does a pretty good job. But unlike Netflix and NVDA, you look at those, they actually came down to their lows, their pre-market lows, and took those out and kept selling off. This only really gave up $1. I mean, it was a good trade because I had size. But it was pretty impressive at the time for Baba not retesting the lows. So as this stuff is going down, I'm like, all right, look, I want to bounce really bad. I mean, we're just begging for a bounce, like, please bounce, please bounce, please bounce so we can short. Please bounce, please bounce, please bounce. Careful what you wish for. Please bounce so we can short. And we start bouncing. So I wrap up that Baba, I take the money. I'm 2 for 2 at that point. I'm like, okay, but that was a sketchy 2 for 2 because number one, I was just on pins and needles with that Netflix. I'm like, this thing's going to turn around and smoke me $8 by the time I can type to the order to sell or before I can reach over and smack the sell button. That's what's going to happen. And that Baba, I'm like, well, I really thought Baba was going to dump like everybody else. I guess I picked the wrong short. I could have done a NVIDIA or something. But anyway, 2 for 2, you're good. So this thing comes back up here. I'm like, I'm going to get into short. So I get into shorts, and it's like back of my mind's always telling me, look, you can't underestimate the power of these intraday rallies. They're bizarre. So I start in with an extremely small size, thinking, okay, well, if it squeezes, it might take me to 306, 307-ish or something. I'm prepared. It just, I mean, this bar goes from 307 to like 311. You know, again, I buy just straight up. I'm like, good Lord. But like I said, it's not the preferable way that everybody wants to trade. To each his own. Far be it for me to criticize someone's strategy. If you found something that works, that makes you money, don't listen to anyone. It's hard enough to make money in the market. You got something that works, do it. You know, do it. To each his own. I mean, there's 1,000 different ways that you can make money for all those 1,000 different ways up the same mountain. And, you know, many traders would disagree. But that's just how I roll. And that's how I've been rolling for 2 decades now. Is I like to work trades, you know, because I don't get back in. Because I think now if you use a stop, because there's a lot of traders out there now saying that, oh, I trade this with like a 50-cent stop. You ain't trading Netflix with a 50-cent stop. Because you're going to stopped out. You're going to be down 50 cents before you finish typing your order. It's bizarre. You're going to have to trade something much more quiet, much less volatility. But anyway, let's get back to this trade. So I add in there, and I know I'm getting pushed around a little bit, but I'm really small on it. And you know, the market's just been turning around on the dime. I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm a few dollars out from my break even now, but you know, I guess that's not far as things rallied. I mean, this rally was $20 damn, wasn't it? I mean, look, it comes off the bottom, 292 to 314. Jesus, I mean, God, what? You know, I mean, there's not many people going to be trading this. Like, it's like a low float. You know, this is like a dry ships. Reminds me of dry ships. But it worked out. I mean, it just comes dumping down there. You know, and again, it's another good trade by the time I added it. I just had some size in there again, and it turned out pretty good. And by that time, that was it for me. I was already cooked around the corner, and it really aided me because we had some good option contracts. We sold some calls, sold some puts, and that kind of really tied the week together pretty good. But I look back and I say, was there a layup trade where I was never read and everything worked out right away? And I'm like, no, I think I worked my ass off for every single dime I made. I mean, every trade was a give and take. There was just no free rides. Now, one of the reasons I want to point this out to you guys is because, first of all, I don't want to mislead you by thinking just because I'm a professional and I've been doing this for 2 decades that I have all the answers in the world. I get just as confused as any. I'm a human being. I get confused too. The market throws me curveballs. I cannot tell you where in the hell this is going to go. I don't know if we're going to go up 1,000 points on Monday or sink 1,000 points or go down 1,000 points and end up 1,000 points. I have no idea. This stuff is so wild. It's so back and forth. But here's a very important thing. Many of you started within the last year or two, and you have grown accustomed to a peaceful market. And even I have grown accustomed to a peaceful market. And when this stuff happens, I start to, you know, memories start to come back of '08, you know, '01, and, you know, February. You start drawing back from memories. And the more that it happens, you start to realize, okay, I've kind of been in this situation. That's why we always tell new traders, and why it takes a long time to learn to trade, because you need the screen time. You need to be seeing this type of stuff, because if you've gone through 2017 and a portion of 2018 and you've been making consistent money, and then all of a sudden this shows up and you don't know how to make money, you know, these recessions, I'm not saying that we're in a recession, these pullbacks, these corrections, these can last for several years. You know, this could be a 2-year, this might be the market for the rest of the year, for a good portion of 2019 before it settles down. I think when the credit crisis, if I'm correct by memory, which may not be, the initial sell-off started in early summer, and it was all the way until, you know, the early portion of the following year in '09 before things started to taper down. So there's a good 8-9 months of that extreme volatility. So if you're a trader, you're like, hey, look, I know a lot of people out there say cash is a position. I'm sitting on the sidelines. If you got a mortgage payment, you can't sit on the sidelines. You've got to go out there and earn your coin. You got to make money unless you got a bunch of it stocked up that you've made over the last couple of years. So you got to trade something here if you're trying to get daily money out of the market. You don't have to force anything, but you really have to change the way that you approach the market. And again, I've broken record with that. Less trades, lower size, give yourself a little bit of flexibility, or move to a group of, you know, lower volatile stocks. But that's just the way it is right now. And if you are new, or you're just like, maybe you're losing some money and you're a little uncomfortable, it's the people I'm talking to, or you're break even, or you're just struggling, or you're fighting, consider that a victory here. You know, consider that, look, man, this market went from one aspect to the other, like literally this month, you know. And I think the stats on this now is that if the market were to close today, I think we're down 8% or something for the month, it would be the worst month for the S&P since '09. So that is back to where I was talking about the credit crisis time. So, you know, that's what you're dealing with right now. So new traders, your traders that haven't been in this for maybe a year or two, a couple of years, use this as a learning experience right now. You know, take this as a learning experience, because this will correct itself. The market will calm down, but you'll see this again in the future at some point. You know, maybe it'll be 5 years, 10 years down the road. If you expect to have a long career at this, you'll see this again, and you'll want to know how to make money in this type of environment, and that's the lessons that I learned. So back in '01, I'm not going to tell my whole life story here, but in '01 I lost a lot of money in a market like this, and the lessons that I learned there from blowing up 2 accounts and suffering and going through that was what really made me a whole bunch of money 7-8 years later in the credit crisis. So you'll see this again, and that's why you need the screen time. But again, we're all going through this. And this market will they will test your patience. That's for sure. I don't care how long you've been doing this. Like I said, 2 decades here. It's testing my patience. It's pissing me off every day. These wild moves are freaking exhausting. I wish it would tame down, but this is the cards I have to deal with. And this is because that's where I earn my income from. I have to work my way through this. So yeah, I wish it would be easier, but that sometimes your trading, it will be easy. Sometimes it will be hard, but that sums up this week. Every single trade was a pain in the ass. It was like trying to take a 2-year-old through the mall or something. It's like, shut up, be quiet, don't touch that. It's like, that's the kind of market it was. So I'm going to say it wasn't a huge week, but every day was green. I'm going to be good with that. There were no easy trades. I was upside down, I think, on everything I took. But again, with experience, going through this, I learned, I know what upside down is. I conditioned myself to handle such events. And, we'll see where we go. I mean, I don't think this is not going to stop Monday. It's not going to wake up Monday and everything's going to be all peaceful and happy again. It's going to continue, probably going to continue on for the rest of the year. So if you need help with that, guys, visit thelincolnlist.com, click on the Trade Room tab. You can start trading with us. Until Monday, stay safe, guys. Stay safe, man, please. And if you need help, you already have questions, send them to support@thelincolnlist.com. I'll do my best to get back to you right away and answer your questions. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for watching this Market Mutterings. Take care. Talk to you soon.